I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, in the order my body remembers it. Not the clean version I give at conferences, not the one I tell my coworkers over bad coffee at 3 a.m. This is the version that still wakes me up some nights, already listening, already counting breaths that shouldn't be there. It started with a sound, not a scream, not an alarm, a breath. A soft, wet inhale that came from a room that was supposed to be empty. I remember pausing in the hallway, one hand still on my pager, the other halfway to my badge scanner, thinking, no, that's not possible. Because the room at the end of the hall, room 417, had been cleared. Disconnected, cleaned, tagged, done, no patient, no ventilator, no oxygen, and yet, there it was again, inhale, exhale, slow, deliberate, like someone sleeping who didn't want to be noticed. If you've never worked nights in a hospital, let me explain something real quick. You learn the language of sound. You can tell who's in trouble by the pitch of a cough. You can tell when a ventilator is lying to you just by the rhythm of its hiss. You can tell when someone is scared by how they breathe, even if they swear they're fine. That breath? It didn't belong to any of those categories. It was too calm. And that's what scared me. I'd been a respiratory therapist for almost 12 years by then. Long enough to stop flinching at codes, long enough to eat vending machine dinners without thinking twice, long enough to know when something was off before the monitors admitted it. I wasn't new, I wasn't jumpy, I wasn't superstitious. But I stood there in that hallway, listening to a breath coming from nothing, and felt my pulse climb into my throat. I told myself the obvious things first. Residual airflow. Pressure equalizing. My brain filling in gaps because I'm tired. Night shift messes with you. You start seeing patterns where there aren't any. You start narrating your own movements just to stay grounded. I'd done a double shift. My coffee was cold. My legs ached in that deep, quiet way that only shows up after midnight. So I walked toward the room. Each step felt louder than it should have been. My shoes squeaked. Traitors. The hallway lights hummed. Somewhere far away, a call bell chirped and then stopped. Another breath. Closer now. I reached room 417 and scanned my badge. Green light. Soft click. The door swung inward. The room was dark, empty bed, rails up, sheets perfectly flat like no one had ever touched them. The ventilator was gone. The wall oxygen was capped. The monitor leads were neatly coiled on the shelf. And still, inhale, exhale. It wasn't coming from the bed. It was coming from the air. I stood there longer than I want to admit. Holding my own breath like that might help me triangulate the sound. It felt wrong to breathe over it, like interrupting someone mid-sentence. Then it stopped. Just stopped. The silence afterward was heavier than the sound had been. Like the room was waiting to see what I'd do next. I laughed. Actually laughed. A short, stupid burst that echoed off the walls. Get it together, I muttered to myself. I turned off the light, closed the door, and walked away. I didn't write anything up. I didn't tell anyone. Because what would I even say? Hey, I heard a ghost breathing. No thanks. I went back to work. 2 hours later, my pager went off. Room 417, respiratory consult. I stopped walking, just froze in the middle of the hallway, staring at the number like it might change if I waited long enough. Same room, same one that didn't have a patient. I checked the assignment board. No admission listed. No transfer. No pending arrival. I felt that same pressure in my chest, like my lungs were filling with something heavier than air. Probably a mistake, I told myself. Clerical error. Those happen all the time. Orders get put in for the wrong room. Numbers get fat-fingered. Night shift is basically held together by duct tape and caffeine. Still, I walked slower this time. The hallway felt longer, narrower, like it had quietly rearranged itself while I wasn't looking. The door to 417 was closed. I hadn't closed it. I stopped just short of the badge scanner. From inside the room, inhale, exhale, steady, measured, Patient perfect. I scanned my badge. Green light. The door opened. The bed was no longer empty. Someone was lying there. I didn't recognize him. Male, maybe late 40s, dark hair, graying at the temples, clean-shaven, no hospital bracelet on his wrist, no IV lines, no oxygen cannula, no monitor leads, just a man. Breathing. I stood in the doorway, my brain flipping through possibilities so fast it felt like static. Wrong room. Patient wandered in. Psych consult. He looked peaceful, eyes closed, chest rising and falling with textbook precision. Not labored, not shallow, not irregular. Honestly, if I'd walked in on him in any other context, I'd have thought he was napping. I stepped closer to the bed. "Sir?" I said softly. No response. I checked the wall. No oxygen flowing. I glanced at the outlet. No equipment plugged in. I watched his chest rise, and that's when I noticed it. The timing. His breaths weren't just regular, they were synchronized with me. Every time I inhaled, he inhaled. Every time I exhaled, he followed. Perfectly matched. No delay.
That's it.
Like a mirror.
Nice and steady.
I stopped breathing.
We are
So did he.
done here.
The silence slammed into my ears so hard I felt dizzy. My heart started racing, pounding against my ribs, begging me to breathe, and I didn't, because I was watching him, waiting. After maybe 3 seconds, 4, his chest rose again. Inhale. I gasped involuntarily. He exhaled. I backed away from the bed so fast I nearly tripped over the chair. "Nope," I whispered. "No, absolutely not." I turned and left the room. Didn't chart, didn't call a code, didn't tell the nurse. I went straight to the break room and sat down with my head in my hands, trying to slow my breathing like I'd been trained 1,000 times to teach other people. In through the nose, out through the mouth. My hands were shaking. I stayed there for 10 minutes, maybe 15. Long enough for the initial panic to drain away and leave that awful creeping doubt behind. You're tired. You imagined it. You need sleep. Eventually, I stood up, went back to work, because that's what you do. The next night, room 417 was occupied. Officially, a new admission. Female, early 30s, severe respiratory distress, unknown cause. I saw the name on my list and felt my stomach drop. Not because of her diagnosis, because of the room number. I told myself it was coincidence. Rooms don't carry memories. They're just walls and outlets and bad lighting. Still, when I walked in, the air felt thicker, warmer, like the room was holding on to something it didn't want to give back. She was struggling, using every accessory muscle she had. Short, panicked breaths, oxygen saturation dipping no matter what we did. We put her on high-flow oxygen, adjusted settings, reassured her, did everything by the book. Nothing helped. Her chest X-ray was clean. Labs were inconclusive. No obstruction, no infection, no obvious reason for her lungs to be failing her. I leaned close to listen to her breath sounds, and underneath the chaos, beneath the wheezing, beneath the gasps, I heard it. Another breath, calm, slow, not hers. I straightened up so fast, the nurse shot me a look. "You okay?" she asked. "Do you hear that?" I said. She tilted her head, listening. "All I hear is her," she said. "Why?" I didn't answer, because I knew it wasn't meant for her, it was meant for me. Things escalated quickly after that. The patient deteriorated over the next hour. We prepped for intubation, called in anesthesia. The room filled with people and equipment and urgency. And through all of it, that other breath stayed steady, unbothered, like it was waiting. When we finally intubated her and connected the ventilator, something strange happened. The ventilator displayed 2 waveforms. 2. One matched the machine settings, the other didn't. The monitor tech swore it was a glitch. Reset the system, checked the leads, replaced the tubing. The second waveform came back every time. Perfectly timed. Calm. like a patient who didn't need help breathing at all. I felt cold, not just emotionally, physically, like the room temperature had dropped 10 degrees. I leaned closer to the bed, my ear near the patient's chest. I heard her breathing through the tube, and behind it, the other one. Closer now, almost overlapping. Then, very clearly, right next to my ear. An exhale. I jumped back, heart slamming. The waveform disappeared. The patient stabilized. Oxygen levels improved. Heart rate normalized. Everyone relaxed. Joked about technology being weird. Chalked it up to interference. I didn't laugh. Because as they wheeled her out later that night, I noticed something. For just a second. In the reflection of the glass door, a man standing behind me. Dark hair, graying temples, eyes closed, breathing. When I turned around, the room was empty. I tried to avoid 417 after that. Swapped assignments, took extra rounds, found reasons to be anywhere else. But hospitals have a way of putting you exactly where you don't want to be. 2 weeks later, I was covering an extra shift, short-staffed, no wiggle room, and there it was on my list again. Room 417, different patient, same story. Unexplained respiratory issues, clean imaging, no clear cause, and always that breath. Sometimes it matched the patient. Sometimes it matched me. Sometimes it came first. I started noticing patterns I wish I hadn't. Patients in 417 improved right after I heard it up close. Like something else was taking over the work of breathing. But there was a cost. Every time it happened, I felt weaker afterward. Lightheaded, short of breath myself. Once, after a particularly bad shift, I had to sit in my car for 20 minutes before I felt safe enough to drive. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't get a full inhale no matter how hard I tried. I told myself it was stress, burnout, anxiety. That's what you tell yourself when the alternative is worse. The breaking point came on a Sunday night. Storm outside, power flickering. That weird electric feeling in the air that makes everything feel slightly unreal. Room 417 was empty again, or so I thought.
And that's when I realized
I was passing by when I heard it. The breath. I stopped, closed my eyes, listened. It wasn't coming from inside the room this time. It was coming from behind me, right at my shoulder. I turned slowly. The man was standing in the hallway, fully visible. No reflection tricks, no glass, no shadows, just there. He looked exactly like he had before, calm, peaceful, almost familiar now. I should have run. I didn't. "What do you want?" I asked. He didn't open his eyes. "I'm not supposed to be here," he said. His voice was quiet, hoarse, like someone who hadn't spoken in a long time. My heart hammered, but my feet stayed planted. "Neither are you," I said. A faint smile touched his lips. "I know," he said. "That's the problem." I swallowed. "You've been helping the patients," I said. "Yes, but it's hurting me." A pause. "I'm sorry," he said, and for the first time his breathing stuttered, just slightly. "Why me?" I asked. "You listen," he said. "Most people don't." That felt unfair, like being punished for doing my job well. "What are you?" I asked. He was quiet for a long moment. "I was a patient," he said finally. "In this room." My stomach twisted. "What happened to you?" His breathing slowed. "I stopped," he said. The hallway lights flickered. "I can't," I said. "I can't do this." "I know," he said again. "That's why it's ending." "What do you mean?" He opened his eyes, and for the first time, they focused on me. Really looked. "I'm running out of air," he said. The irony hit me so hard I almost laughed. "That's not how this works," I said. "You're not breathing," he finished gently. "I know." He stepped closer. I could feel it now.
It's okay, breathe
The
with
pull,
me.
like my lungs were being asked a question they didn't want to answer.
Just try to relax.
"I just need one more," he said. "No," I said immediately. I don't mean from you, he said. Not exactly. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the hallway in red. Alarms started somewhere far away. And suddenly, I understood. He wasn't stealing breath, he was borrowing time. Every patient who improved, every unexplained recovery, every calm waveform that didn't belong. It was him, finishing what he couldn't. But systems don't like loose ends, and neither do bodies. I can't let you take it from them anymore, I said. He nodded. I was hoping you'd say that. How do I stop this? I asked. Listen, he said, the way you always do. I closed my eyes, focused on my own breathing, slow, controlled. I felt it then, the mismatch, the extra rhythm layered over mine like a harmony that didn't belong. I adjusted, changed my pace. The other breath struggled to keep up. I'm sorry, he whispered. I know, I said. And then I did the hardest thing I've ever done. I stopped listening. I counted my breaths, tuned everything else out, let the alarms blur into background noise. When I opened my eyes, the hallway was empty. Room 417 stayed empty after that. No unexplained cases, no extra waveforms, and the breath? Gone. Mostly. I still work nights, still listen. Sometimes, when the hospital is quiet and the air feels heavy, I think I hear it again. Just for a second. An echo. And every time I check my own breathing first. Because I know now. Not every breath you hear is yours. And not every one is meant to be saved. If you've ever noticed something off on a night shift, if a sound ever made you stop and listen a little too hard, tell me. I want to know I'm not the only one who still hears it.